Long before the world forgot, there were stories that refused to die, cursed gods, restless spirits, and legends written in fear. From myth to nightmare, we bring their tales back to life. Welcome to Scary Mary Asia, where legends awaken.
Part 1, the light before time. They say there was a time before time itself, when the stars were new, and the sky was silent. In that stillness, light and darkness made their first pact to coexist, forever chasing one another through creation. And every year, when the world grows dim and the nights stretch long, humanity remembers that ancient dance. That memory is called Deepavali, the festival of lights. But the story of Deepavali did not begin with the festival, nor wheat fire. It began with struggle. The eternal struggle between what is right and what is not, between virtue and pride, between truth and illusion. And like the many flames that shimmer in the dark, its story is not one, but many. Each flame tells a different tale, each one born from a moment when light conquered shadow. Long ago, in the land of Ayodhya, there lived a prince named Rama, a man of unwavering virtue, the embodiment of dharma, duty, righteousness, and truth. Fate tested him. Banished from his kingdom for 14 long years, he wandered through forests, through storms, through the silence of exile. At his side were his loyal brother Lakshmana and his beloved Sita, whose faith never wavered. But darkness does not rest quietly. From across the sea rose a shadow Ravenna, the 10-headed king of Lanka. A being of power and arrogance, he captured Sita and carried her away, believing he could imprison light itself. Yet, even darkness cannot hold the dawn. Rama called upon allies from the forests, the Vanara tribes, led by the mighty Hanuman. Together they built a bridge across the ocean and waged a war that shook the heavens. When Ravenna fell, the world sighed in relief. Good had triumphed, but the night was still black. And so, as Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana returned home, the people of Ayodhya lit lamps along the path, thousands upon thousands of flickering lights. Every home glowed like a star fallen to earth. That night, the first Deepavali was born not as a celebration, but as a promise that darkness, no matter how vast, can never overcome light. But Ayodhya's flame was only one among many. Far to the south, in a land of mountains and oceans, another story unfolded. The tale of Lord Krishna and the demon Narakasura, born of divine blood, was blessed with power and cursed with pride. He conquered the heavens, chained celestial beings, and drowned the world in despair. The cries of the oppressed reached the ears of Krishna, who rose to face the tyrant. The battle was fierce. Mountains split, thunder rolled, and the earth trembled beneath divine wrath. And when Krishna's discus, the Sudarshana Chakra, cut through the darkness, Narakasura fell. The demon's final breath carried remorse, and in that moment, his soul was freed. Wheat is full light, returned to the world. That dawn, the people celebrated bathing before sunrise, lighting lamps, and offering prayers for a world cleansed of fear. Thus was born Naraka Chaturdashi, the second flame of Deepavali. But Deepavali is not only a story of war, it is also a story of creation, of beauty rising from the depths of chaos. In the age before gods and men, there was the ocean of milk, the Kashir saga, endless, silent, and waiting. When the gods and demons sought immortality, they churned the great ocean together, and from its white waves, treasures began to rise. The moon, a divine horse, the tree of paradise, and at last, a goddess radiant as the dawn Lakshmi. She stepped forth holding a lotus in her hand, a smile that promised abundance and peace. Where she walked, life bloomed. Where she blessed, sorrow vanished. Since that day, lamps have been lit in her honor. On the night of Deepavali, homes glow with her light. Doors are left open so prosperity may enter, and hearts are filled with hope for the year ahead. before Deepavali is also Lakshmi's night. The night wealth of the spirit, and the home finds its way back to those who believe. And still, the story continues. For some, Deepavali is the memory of the Pandavas, the 5 brothers of the Mahabharata, who returned home from exile on the new moon night of Kartik. The people lit lamps to welcome them, celebrating the return of righteousness after years of silence. And in another tradition, the Jains remember that on this very night, Lord Mahavira, the last Tirthankara, attained nirvana. His soul became one with the universe, freed from the wheel of birth and death. It is said the gods themselves lit lamps in the sky to mark the moment his light entered eternity. And in the Chronicles of Kings, the night of Deepavali also marks the coronation of Vikramaditya, the wise and noble ruler whose reign began with the glow of thousands of lamps. Thus, in every legend, Deepavali is reborn. A moment when shadow yields to light, when despair bows before renewal. Deepavali is not the tale of one faith, nor one land. It is the heartbeat of humanity's oldest truth. That light, though fragile, never fails. Every flame that flickers tonight carries the memory of these ancient victories, the triumph of goodness, the return of love, the birth of hope. And when we light our lamps, we are not merely repeating a ritual. We are reliving an eternal moment, the moment when the world chose to shine. Part 2: The flame across lands. As centuries passed, kingdoms rose and fell, but the light of Deepavali endured. Empires carved their marks in stone. Languages changed. Faiths evolved yet every year. When the new moon of Kartik arrived, the same flame returned. From the palaces of kings to the smallest village huts, lamps continued to burn, quiet witnesses to a story older than memory itself. In India, the land where these legends first took root, Deepavali grew beyond a tale of gods and heroes. It became a season, a sacred rhythm of renewal. Markets overflowed with color and sound, the air thick with the scent of marigold and ghee. Families cleaned their homes, believing that purity invited prosperity, and that the light of Lakshmi only entered places free of darkness, both outside and within. Gold glimmered in the shops, sweets filled silver trays, and laughter echoed across narrow streets. But beneath all the celebration lay something ancient and solemn. The idea that every lamp lit that night was a prayer for goodness to prevail, for ignorance to fade, and for the human spirit to remember its own brilliance. In the south of India, the festival carries the warmth of dawn. Here, Deepavali begins before sunrise. Families wake early, anoint themselves with oil, and bathe as the first light touches the sky. It is said that this act washes away not only dirt, but sorrow itself. A symbolic rebirth for the soul. The sound of firecrackers soon follows, echoing through the morning mist, announcing the end of evil and the arrival of joy. Every spark is said to drive away unseen shadows that linger between worlds. In Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, people remember the fall of Narakasura, Krishna's victory over arrogance, and offer prayers for humility and peace. In Andhra and Telangana, the festival is marked by sharing sweets, decorating doors with mango leaves, and painting kolam, sacred patterns on the ground, drawn to invite divine protection. Each region gives the same story its own voice, but all speak of light returning home. To the north, Deepavali unfolds differently under the cool breath of autumn. In Delhi, Varanasi, and Ayodhya, the streets glow with the brilliance of countless lamps. Temples shimmer like golden rivers, fireworks bloom against the dark sky, and the air hums with chants of devotion. It is not merely celebration. It is remembrance. When the lamps of Ayodhya are lit, the people say, Rama walks among them once more. In the flicker of every flame, they see the reflection of truth, that even kings and gods must endure exile before they earn their homecoming. In the West, in Gujarat and Maharashtra, Deepavali is deeply bound to the grace of Lakshmi. There, it is both spiritual and practical, marking the end of the financial year for merchants and the beginning of a new cycle of fortune. Shops close early, ledgers are washed clean with holy water, and new books are opened under the gaze of the goddess. It is not just wealth they seek, but clarity, A reminder that true prosperity is measured not in gold, but in light. Across the ocean, in Sri Lanka, Deepavali takes on a unique form. Among the Tamil communities, homes are washed, hearts are prepared, and lamps are placed at every window. In the land once ruled by Ravana, the people remember not defeat, but redemption, the idea that even darkness can be forgiven when it learns to yield. Here, Deepavali is not just a festival of victory, it is a festival of healing. Further north, in Nepal, the celebration is known as Tihar, the festival of lights, but also of life itself. For 5 days, people honor not only gods, but animals, nature, and family. The first day honors the crow, the messenger of death, offered food so that misfortune may stay away. The next honors the dog, symbol of loyalty, decorated with garlands for its faithfulness. Then comes the cow, sacred to the goddess of prosperity. And finally, brothers and sisters who bless one another with love and protection. In Tiha, every being, mortal or divine, is part of the same cosmic family. Its lamps do not divide. They unite, and far across the seas, where the stories of India traveled with its people, Deepavali found new homes. In Malaysia, the festival glows with harmony, celebrated by Hindus, but embraced by all. Temples hum with music, homes are bright with kolam designs of colored rice, and families open their doors to neighbors of every faith. In the heart of Kuala Lumpur, peddling street and brickfields come alive, not with noise, but with warmth. There, Deepavali is not only the victory of light, but the victory of unity, proof that the divine can shine through many languages, many faces, and one shared joy. In Singapore, the streets of Little India turn to rivers of gold. Garlands of marigold and jasmine hang from every shop. Lamps line the windows, and the smell of cardamom and sugar fills the night air. Here, Deepavali is both tradition and pride, a festival that reminds a modern city of its ancient heart. Even in Mauritius, Fiji, and Trinidad, lands far from India's shores, the lamps still burn, carried by ancestors who crossed oceans centuries ago. They light their homes today in memory of everything that could not be carried with them: language, soil, history. And yet, the flame survived. It always does. Through the centuries, Deepavali has become more than a Hindu festival. It has become a universal language, spoken through light. For some, it is the memory of Rama's return. For others, the wisdom of Mahavira, the power of Krishna, or the blessings of Lakshmi. But for all, it is a reminder of something simple: that light must be shared, that joy, to be real, must be given freely, and that the world, for all its pain and shadows, still turns toward brightness when we choose to see it. Part 4. The flame across lands as centuries passed. The light of Deepavali traveled across rivers, over mountains, beyond kingdoms and empires. It carried with it not just legend, but life. In India, where it was born, each region told its own story of the light. In the north, they remembered the homecoming of Rama. Cities glowed with lamps, streets filled with laughter, and fireworks tore through the night sky. For this was the victory of righteousness over evil, and the triumph of hope. In the south, Deepavali took a different form, a dawn celebration of Krishna's victory over Naraga. Families woke before sunrise, bathing in oil to cleanse their spirits, symbolizing the washing away of darkness. Children burst firecrackers to drive away the unseen, reminders that light, sound, and joy keep the shadows at bay. In the west, especially Gujarat, Deepavali marked the day of Lakshmi's arrival, a festival of wealth and blessings. Traders closed their old account books and opened new ones, praying for prosperity in the year to come. It was said that if the lamps burned bright through the night, the goddess herself would step across the threshold and bless the home. And in East Bengal, Orissa, and Assam, the same light shone in a different name. There, it was Kali Puja, the night of the fierce goddess Kali, while others worshipped wealth and peace. Bengal embraced the destroyer of evil. Lamps were lit not just to invite fortune, but to remind the world that even destruction can be divine when it serves the truth. Beyond India's borders, the flame continued its journey. In Sri Lanka, the land once ruled by Ravana, the story turned full circle. Even there, lamps were lit for peace, for remembrance, for forgiveness. For in every story of light, there is a shadow that must be healed. Across the Himalayas, in Nepal, the festival became Tihar. 5 sacred days, each honoring a different bond of life. The first day for the crow, messenger of death. The second for the dog, the guardian of loyalty. The third for the cow, giver of life and abundance. The fourth for brothers and sisters, the unbreakable human bond. And the fifth for wealth, light, and the goddess, Lakshmi herself. Each day, homes glowed with diyas, and streets shimmered with color and song. A reminder that light is not just divine, but deeply human. Then, the flame crossed the seas. It reached Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia, carried by traders and travelers, priests and poets. In Malaysia, Deepavali became a symbol of unity, a day when Hindus opened their homes to friends of every faith. Oil lamps lined porches, sweets were shared, and the darkness between hearts was lifted through kindness. In Singapore, the streets of Little India blazed with light arches of gold, garlands of marigold, and the air heavy with the scent of jasmine and ghee lamps. Even in Bali, where ancient Hinduism still lives in its own island rhythm, the echoes of Deepavali blend with local rituals, proof that light, no matter where it travels, learns the language of every land. Through migration and memory, the flame reached far, to Mauritius, Fiji, South Africa, and the Caribbean, where the descendants of Indian laborers carried not just their pain, but also their stories, their songs, their light. And though oceans separated them from the homeland, they lit their lamps each year as if the gods themselves still watched over them. Deepavali became more than a festival. It became a heartbeat, a pulse that crossed cultures and continents, reminding humanity that no matter how far we roam, light is a home we can always return to. Part 5. The light within. They say the darkest night comes before the dawn. And Deepavali, the festival of lights, is at dawn. But look closely, and you'll see. The real light of Deepavali has never just been in the lamps. It has always lived in us. In every act of kindness, in every moment we choose forgiveness over anger, truth over deceit, hope over despair. The oil lamps we light, the diyas, are not merely tradition. They are mirrors of our own souls. Each flame burns away a little of the darkness we carry inside, the envy, the pride, the fear. And with every light we kindle, we remind the world and ourselves that good will always rise again. When Rama returned to Ayodhya, it was not the lamps that made the night bright. It was the hearts of the people, united in joy and faith. When Krishna freed the captives from Narakasura's tyranny, it was not only the demon that fell, but the shadows that had ruled human hearts. And when Lakshmi stepped from the cosmic ocean, it was not gold or jewels she brought, but the promise of balance, the harmony between giving and gratitude. Deepavali has lasted through ages because its truth is eternal. Every religion, every faith, every heart understands it. The struggle between light and darkness, between the part of us that creates and the part that destroys. And yet, every year, we light that same flame. A promise, a prayer, a whisper to the universe that says, I will not let the darkness win. In our modern world, where cities glow brighter than the stars, and yet hearts grow lonelier than ever, Deepavali still asks the same question. What is the light you carry? What do you ignite when the world around you grows dim? For light is not found in temples alone. It burns in the smallest acts. A child's laughter, a mother's prayer, a stranger's kindness, a friend's forgiveness. It burns in you and in me and in me. So when you light your lamp this year, remember, it is more than ritual. It is a resurrection. It is remembrance. It is resistance against the night, against hate, against forgetting what makes us human. And perhaps that is why, after thousands of years, Deepavali still shines. Because no matter how the world changes, no matter how long the darkness lasts, the flame has never gone out. It burns in our homes, in our stories, in the spaces between faith and fear. That is the light within. That is Deepavali. And, as always, this is Scary Merry Asia, where every story, even one of light, reminds us that behind every legend lies a shadow waiting to be understood. You're watching Scary Merry Asia. Subscribe for more legends, myths, and mysteries from across Asia. And to all Hindus, anywhere in the world, we wish you a happy and prosperous. May your light never fade. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like, share, and comment.